Alright, so today we're going to go over a couple different things, but right now I'm trying to get these bilge hatches covered. This is actually underneath the V-berth area. So I'll kind of give a tour of the boat and where its current state is here in a little bit. But right now I wanted to give you an idea of what I've been working on. What I've done is everything being replaced in this boat is being replaced with COOSA. Okay, this is a Blue Water 20 series. This is not the 26. The 26 I only use for structural items. This is not really structural. So there is some fitments and things that I have to do to this to make it work. But we'll go through kind of how to do it first. Always clean the area, kind of helps. If you don't have one of these little battery powered vacuums, they are awesome. Alright, so some of these may not fit. As you can see, I did a rough sketch in the shop. This is still raised up here. So I've got to do some trimming or some sanding on side. I'm most likely just going to sand it at this point versus doing any more cutting. I will check the other one to see if the other one's closer. So as you can see, both of them still need a little bit of work here. Most of it's going to be in the corners. Everything else I see air on, so I'm going to try adjusting this corner here with the sander, and then maybe a little bit off the top and see if I get it to fix. I do have some chunks missing out of here that made the mistake with the jigsaw. No big deal. Everything's going to get epoxied and glassed in, so it shouldn't be a big deal at all. That's what I did with my sander. You'll see me using a lot of battery tools on the boat, mainly because it's a really long walk to my shop, and stretching the air out for small projects like this doesn't really make a lot of sense. These are very beneficial for working inside and or if you're on a dock, things like that. I like the air ones a little bit better, but it does still do what it needs to do. So right now, as you can, let's see if I can put this up where you can see it. Hard to see with the sunlight here. As you can see this little area here, I've got a little mark on. I didn't quite get a perfectly round corner. I did freehand this. I did not use a router or anything. But I'm going to try to shave a little bit off here, just see if we can get it to fit. Really, they probably shouldn't fit this tight. What I might do later is go back and run a router around everything to take a little bit off of it. I don't know that I'm going to do that, but we'll take a look at it anyway. So I'm just trying to take a little bit off of it each time, so I'm tearing the tools up until I get where it's going to fit. You should not have to force it in there. It should have a little bit of room in it. The best I can tell, there's still just a few small areas. If I can see where they are. Nothing's really standing out. It's hot in here. I'll say that area right here. Good news is that COOSA doesn't really swell, so once you get it fitted pretty close, you get it kind of got where you need it to be. I might have to go to a more aggressive sandpaper. Alright, so you can see it's starting to fit down in there a little bit better. Yes, it is raised up a little bit. I'm sure there's going to be some comments about that. It doesn't really matter because the only thing going on this is a mattress. If it was on the floor or something, I'd probably take a different look at it, but it's not. You just don't quite have it right. I'm going to try to take a little bit more off this side here. There is more effective ways of doing this. Like I said, I'm already inside the boat. I just want to get a good fit. Once it fits close, I'll go back and I'll take a router and I'm just going to make a pass all the way around the edge. And what that'll do is it'll give me a little bit of an air gap to where you can get it in and out there a little easier. The main thing is I'm getting ready to take this port light out, or the hatch out above my head, send it off and have the frame powder coated. So I wanted all the wood pieces pulled out, put in, just because the amount of moisture might be getting in here for the next couple months while I wait for that stuff to come back. I'll get you set up and we'll do another one right behind me. All right, just like the last one, I'm going to clean all this area out, see if I can get this hatch cover to fit in here, and we'll go from there. See how far off we are on this one. Well, that one's actually not bad. Got a little bit of a tight corner. Maybe just knock a little bit off of it and then we'll take it and put it on the router when it's all said and done. Alright, that was an easy one. I like this. Alright, we're going to work on this last one here. Sorry about the way the light's coming through here, but it is very hot. You don't want to be down here in this boat as hot as it is outside. So as you can see, maybe you can see that. This area right here is a little tight. Looks like going into the corners here. Everything else seems to be close. I'm just going to shave a little bit off of this and kind of go from there. closer every time. Still have a little bit more to get out of here on this side. Maybe just this whole corner needs a little bit of work. See if I can get it sanded in. So close. Just needs a little bit of a trim all the way around it. And I think it'll be good to go. Only fits one way, which is surprising that you wouldn't think it'd be that far out. Probably gonna cut a little bit more off of here later. Alright, so we're gonna move on and just start taking this hatch out, hatch cover, whatever you want to call it. Move the camera a little bit. So it's a bomar, and it's one of the larger series. I think they call it the 1000s or the P100s or something like that. But what we're going to do is this. You can see the frame here is actually a little bit corroded. We're going to just take it out. I'm going to take the acrylic, all the acrylic's busted. I'm going to take it off. Take everything off of it, send it to powder coater, and have this powder coated. It's going to match all the other items that are being powder coated on the boat, which I'll show you those later. So to start, we're just going to go ahead and pull the screws out and see if we can get this thing out of here. There is somebody that's mowing here at the same time, so you're probably going to hear that in the background. Alright, so the easy part is obviously getting the screws out. Depending on what they put this down with, depends on how easy it comes out. So I do like to cut the, usually it's got silicone or something around it. Have to cut it down. I'll get the backside in a minute. So I found that a 5-in-1, something similar, works very good to get up underneath these things. Usually you end up having to drive the hammer underneath them because it's probably got something like 3M, 4200, 5200, something like that underneath it. As old as it is, it's hard to really tell. I'm just going to go ahead and assume that's what's under it. Ooh, it's going to be fun. Fortunately, once you get, takes a minute to find the spot to get started on it. Once you get it started, I take an old sheetrock blade because it's what I've got tons of laying around here. And I drive it under there. And I just start working my way around it. So anywhere you can. I'm gonna get it. All that silicone or glue or whatever they're using, sealant, just got to get it broke loose. It should lift out of there. Now you can't see it, but it's actually, the blade's actually coming all the way through to the inside, so it might help if I cut through this inside as well. It might actually be easier to approach this one from the inside. I don't really know. Might try it from the inside, see if it's a little bit easier. This old blade here is pretty tore up. It's the one I use to take the fly bridge off, everything else. One thing I really don't want to do though is I don't want to take the chance of bending or breaking the frame in any way. They're rather expensive. I know I've gotten a few questions, not necessarily online, but another area is asking me why I'm powder coating versus painting or anything else. Honestly, I like powder coating. There's a lot of stuff that's come out over the years on the durability and saltwater condition. I think you could probably coat it in a type of zinc, if I remember, like a zinc primer or something, and then powder over it. Now, I'm letting the professionals handle that side of it, but I'm hoping that it holds up just as good as anything else does, and if not better, in salt conditions. A lot of people all grip them, paint them up. I think they use like a zinc chromate primer to do a lot of that, and I've done a few things that way. Honestly, powder coating is more cost effective for me because I only get about 1 day a week to really work on these style projects, and it's better my time be spent actually working and not so much grinding, polishing, and primer on these small items. These small items can tie up a lot of your time that you can be spent working on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to run this around here for a while, and then we'll get it pried up. So as you can tell, it's got it all popped loose. It really only took about 45 more seconds. I should have just kept the camera rolling. But just going to fold it over, like that. I don't know if you can see this very well on the camera. Let me see if I can turn it a little bit. You can see this hatch here. These things are actually still in pretty good shape for it to be as old as it is. I did buy some replacement parts for these dogs. Little springs. I did buy a new seal. So another video later will be actually refurbishing this hatch and getting it ready to get back in, as well as putting the acrylic and everything in it. Put that out of the way, and random other parts just sitting up here. So now that this is open, see, now that it's completely open, ideally you want to clean all of this off. The 40 years of whatever else is in on here. And I'm sure it's been removed a time or two in its life. If I remember right, the previous owner had this boat redone in the early 2000s, where they built a tuna tower and everything for it. But I've got other gasket scrapers that work pretty good. This is what I have in my hand, so I'm using it. I'll actually go back and sand all this, and when the boat's painted, all this will be repainted underneath it. And then after the paint's done, the hatch will go back. Alright, so what we're going to start on now is I'm actually going to start putting the bulkhead back in. Well, I'm going to start getting it fitting in place. I'm actually not going to put it in, but I'm getting it fitting in place. So I removed the old wooden bulkhead out of here. Let me see if I can get the camera closer and actually see what it is. As you can see, all the little screw heads here. Our screw heads broke off. This is actually going into the V-berth. What we're going to start with is we're going to cut all these off here. So each location is going to be cut off. And I'm actually just going to grind them smooth. I'm not really going to worry about removing them because there's really no value in it, because when I put the other ones back in, I'm not going to be using the same screw holes anyway. So, die grinder. Might want to wear gloves and things for this. Makes pretty quick work of it. So what I did is I took the old one out. It was had some water damage to it. It wasn't terrible. Could have been fixed, but to me it's not worth fixing. Then what I did is I made another one out of COOSA. I traced it. And it'll have to be modified, I'm sure, just for the reason that nothing actually fits the first time. And I can already see where I've messed up a little bit, but it's not terrible. It's actually not terrible. It's really hard to get a good view of this with a camera. The idea is I want it to be flush where it was before. And it's probably going to sit recessed in about that far. I'm going to push it all the way against the hole. I'm probably going to have to cut down some of the hole where the glass is still in there or grind it off. But I wanted to get an idea how close I was. Honestly, looking at it, I need to cut a little bit off this corner. But best I can tell, that's the majority of what I need. So I'm going to shave a little bit off of that, and then we'll resume the video. All right, sander. I don't know that you can see this very well, but this is where the tabbing was on the last wall. I don't know if you really call it a bulkhead or not. I guess it technically is, but it's above the water line. So it's not really structural. Maybe it assists in holding the upper deck up a little bit, but you can see where some of the wood was. There was a big gap here. There's wood down here. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut all this off, or grind it off, per se, down flush with the outside. Now, it's not going to matter that I'm taking some thickness off of this because I'm going to put new tabbing in, and you can see the difference in tabbing here. It's about 4 inches on each side. So when I go back with it, it'll be epoxied in and then tabbed on each side as well. So there's 2 different ways to do this. You can cut it, or you can take a grinder to do it. Ideally, grinding it is better, but man, it makes a lot of dust. So we're probably going to cut as much as we can off and then go back and grind it later. This does make a bit of a mess. Sorry, I'm wearing a face mask, but it does make a bit of a mess, but just bear with me here. I do have an old flat disc here I'm going to put on. Alright, done a little bit of grinding, some fixing, cleaned up the area over there in the corner. Again, forgive the mess, guys. We'll see if we can get this thing in here. There it is. Obviously, it's not glassed in or anything yet. There's still a little bit of squaring up that has to be done. It doesn't quite look square to me. I don't have my T-square with me or get it in there. The idea is to get all these things built when I have downtime, and then go in and just get them mocked up and fitting. When I go to glass them, I'll glass all of them at the same time. So you'll have a bunch of them laid on the table, get them fiberglassed, and they'll go back in here. So the idea behind the birds room is, I call it make it as mistake proof as possible, which in this case means if I use everything in COOSA, you know, fiberglass, it's gel coated or painted or whatever you want to do at that point in time. It's pretty low maintenance, and if for some reason you have a problem, you really don't have to worry about the walls. You know, I guess technically if you sink it, you just pump it out and bring it back. The core is wood on these old Bertrams, but you know, I've been told a lot of different things, how they don't really have problems, but we're going to check it. After we get to that point, we'll go down and check all the core, make sure everything's good. Not very familiar on how to check those things, but I'm doing a lot of reading. If you guys know, please let me know.